The Honda Accord is just one of those cars that is just a little bit underrated, I feel like, especially the newer ones. Like, they get the job done, they have a good amount of options that they come with, and they look pretty damn good, especially when they have some aftermarket goodies on them. Which is probably why you're currently sitting here watching this video, because you're probably wondering what kind of wheels or what size wheels you can put on your own Honda Accord. So with that being said, what is going on, everybody? Jels from Fitment Industries, and welcome to Fitment Industries Garage, where we are going to dive a little bit more into depth on a little bit more technical things, including what wheels fit your Honda Accord. Before we go ahead and get right into it, don't forget to subscribe. We are going to be uploading more and more on the Garage channel here very, very soon. And that's going to include some new series, some new faces probably, and it's going to be a great time. And of course, don't forget to check us out over at fitmentindustries.com, where we have a ton of wheel, tire, and suspension options available right now for not only Honda Accords, but pretty much every vehicle you can imagine. We actually see a lot of Honda Accords getting added to the Fitment Industries gallery pretty much every day, but more specifically, some of the newer generations. So today we're going to be going over the 9th generation specifically, as that is one of the most popular generations that we're seeing uploaded to the gallery. So the 9th generation spans from the years 2013 to 2017 and has a recommended fitment range of 17 to 22 inches in diameter, 7 to 10.5 inches for the width, and the offset laning somewhere in between plus 55 and plus 20. So what we are going to do is go a little bit more in depth and show some real world examples of different wheel, tire, and suspension setups that people are running on these cars, and narrow it down just a little bit to some different looks and some different types of fitment. First up, we're going to go over some setups that are going to be good for those that are looking to keep a lot of functionality out of their car, but still want something aftermarket to give it a good look. So that will be the first few cars that we go over here, and these won't require any additional work to get them to fit and won't cause any rubbing issues or clearance issues. So no fender rolling, no fender pulling, no have to worry about any aftermarket suspension stuff. So starting with this 2015, we have some F1R F29s, 18 by 9.5 plus 35 offset with some Nankangs 225/45 sitting on some Tane coilovers. That's a fantastic daily setup. I have Tane coilovers on my car. They're a fantastic suspension option for the price. Next, we actually have one of our own web developers, Eric. His car, the 2015, with some Avid One AV20s, 18 by 8.5 plus 33. So a little narrow in the width, but with a 225/40 tire, and again sitting on some Tane coilovers. Moving right along to this 2015 coupe, we have some ESR SR08s, 19 by 8.5 plus 30. So going up in diameter and getting a little more aggressive with the offset. With again a 225/40 tire, and yet again sitting on some Tane coilovers, you get kind of what we have here. So if you're looking for 19s, yes, they do work just fine. So if you're looking for a setup daily driving, either 18s or 19s with either 8.5 or 9.5 width with right around a plus 35 offset is going to suit you pretty well. And that's pretty typical for a lot of modern Japanese cars. Moving on to our next category, we're going to get a little more dialed in with that fitment with some bigger setups, getting a little more flush, getting a little more aggressive with that offset. Now, some of these are going to require you to roll your fenders or run a little bit of a tire stretch to get everything to fit. But that's the trade-off when you go with a more aggressive setup. First up, we have a white 2015 coupe with some Vordovan form 9s, 19 by 9.5 plus 22 with a 245/35 Federal 595 tire. And you guessed it, sitting on some Tane coilovers. So fenders are rolled and pulled a little bit to get these wheels to fit, but it looks like it's worth it here. Moving right along, we get to this 2015 sedan, this time with some Boston VFS2s, 20 by 10.5 plus 45. So the first set of 20s that we see here, and getting up into that bigger width of 10.5 inches. However, that offset is pretty high, meaning that the wheel's going to be sunk in a little more with that plus 45. Paired with a 235/30 tire allows them to clear. And this car is actually sitting on some BC Racing coilovers. And then one more that we'll throw into this list will be a 2014 with some ESR SR08s, 19 by 9.5 plus 22 with a 235/35 tire sitting on some K-Sport coilovers, getting this car nice and low. And there are a lot of similar cars in the gallery running similar setups. Maybe the offset's a little different, tire size a little different, but there are a ton over there that you can go check out, pull reference off of. Now, we always like to close out these videos by going over the widest, lowest, and craziest setups that we see in the gallery. So for the following cars had some pretty extensive modifications, you could say, to get their wheels to fit, so they deserve to be talked about just a little bit. We see a lot of air suspension coming into the mix, as well as some fender to lip fitment. So first and the final category for today, we have this 2014 with some clutch KM20s, 19 by 10 plus 22 with a 225/40 tire sitting on some Airlift Performance air suspension. On this one, just a quick note that there is a 10mm spacer in the front just to kind of get that all dialed in, but nothing too crazy. Next up, a 2016 with some Ferrata FR4s, 19 by 10.5 plus 38 all around with a 235/35 tire, again on some air suspension, fender to lip in the front, tucking a little bit in the rear. How about some 11 wides on an Accord? Well, this 2015 is able to pull it off with some JNC 046s, 19 by 9.5 plus 24 in the front with a 19 by 11 plus 24 in the rear. So a staggered setup on this car, 215/35 and a 235/35 for the tire, sitting on some True Heart coilovers. We have this 2015 to close out the day with some Weds, Crons, Ratzingers, 19 by 10.5 plus 22 up front, 19 by 11.5 plus 22 in the rear, which is pretty crazy. 225/35 tire and a 245/35 tire, again on some Airlift Performance air suspension. This is a pretty wild car that you can go check out in the gallery right now and find out a little more information about it, see some more pictures, all that kind of good stuff. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this helped you out in your journey to find your next wheel and tire setup for your Honda Accord. Again, if you need to see more examples or want some more help, don't be afraid to check out the gallery over at fitmentindustries.com, where we found all these cars. You can check out all the different wheel setups, all the different tire specs, suspension, if they needed to roll fenders, if they needed to run spacers, all that sort of good stuff, all available free for your information. fitmentindustries.com. And again, wheel, tire, suspension, all over there as well. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Gels. We'll see you later. Peace.